is one of the OG mom content creators of India. What should be in the no-no list that you cannot share these things about your child on social media?
I was not okay with showing videos of my children crying or my baby's having a bath or diaper changes, which are essentially very, very private in nature.
Do you worry about the risk of exposing your child's content to perverts and pedophiles?
You know, there is an increasingly large number of accounts on Instagram which are just child accounts where parents are not in the picture, and I'm definitely not okay with that because that is making the child the content.
When you see a mom influencer collaborating with a certain brand, how can you tell whether or not you should trust that recommendation?
If a mom creator is continuously just recommending products, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, you really need to be wary about those people.
If you find a certain creator who is probably not being very ethical, or they are putting appropriate videos, photos of their kid, do you think they should call them out?
I usually call them out very, very publicly because I have always been extremely unfiltered in my Instagram journey.
Welcome back to another episode of the Modern Indian Parent Podcast, the podcast that is redefining parenting in Indian families. I'm Rini Gupta, the co-host of this show, and I'm so excited to have you back here. I'm sure as a parent, you share photos and videos of your kids online every single day, whether it's just sending it to grandparents on WhatsApp or sharing it on your Instagram feed or stories. And that's just a normal part of the digital age that we live in. And that is what sharenting is. It is sharing your parenting journey online. But have you ever stopped to wonder if what I'm sharing is a happy memory or a permanent digital footprint of your child that they did not agree to? Do you have a clear list of guidelines on what is okay to share and what only belongs in your private archives? What about all the thousands of kids that are showing up in the Instagram and YouTube content of mom creators? Have you questioned if it's safe or ethical? Do you think about which mom creators are genuine and trustworthy and which ones are just trying to get you to buy things so they can earn money from it? In today's podcast episode, we are going to be interviewing one of the OG mom creators of India, Namrata Sadhwani, also known as Namrata Tabs on Instagram. She started her journey as a mom content creator over 12 years ago when it was not even a thing. She is one of the pioneers, and that's why she has seen the complete evolution of this industry to give us a raw understanding of what it's all about. Today, we are going to talk about a complete list of red flag content that you should never post about your child online, how to keep them safe in this age of AI and sexual predators who could be lurking in different corners of the internet. We will get an insider look at how the whole mom content creation industry works and how ethical it is. We are not here to shame parents. We are here to give you the right language, the guidelines, and just some food for thought. So before you hit the post button the next time with your kid in it, you just take a moment to think about whether or not it's okay to post that piece of content. So without further ado, let's welcome Namrata into this conversation. Hi, Namrata. I'm so excited to have you on this podcast. Just to give the listeners and the viewers a bit of a background, I met Namrata a couple of months ago in an event in Hyderabad, and I was just so taken aback by the freshness in her energy and how candid she is. And when I found out that she is one of the OG mom content creators of India, she started more than 10 years ago when mom influencer, mom content creator wasn't even a thing. And she started off at that time. I was just, like gobsmacked. And I said, I need to have Namrata on the podcast so that we can really understand how this whole space has evolved. Everything from sharenting, which is basically just parents, you and me, sharing about their child's life online, and about the rise of the mom influencers. So, Namrata, I'm super happy to have you here. For the benefit of our listeners and our viewers, can you give them a little bit of like a snapshot of what these last 10 years have been like for you in this industry?
So, hi everyone. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Rini, for having me on the podcast. I'm really excited about it. At the same event, I was absolutely amazed at the wealth of information that you share on the podcast and helped so many parents all over the world. So, I'm really happy to be here. And As for me, I am known as a Nizami Mom on Instagram, and I started my journey of content creation more than 12 years ago. Actually, it's been close to 12 years now, ever since my twin boys were born. And I decided to do that because at that time, there were not many realistic views about momming and parenting in India. There was no reality check for mothers. Like, as when we give birth to our children, we were just expected to know everything and, become these devis. And I realized that I don't know anything. And I didn't find any relatable sources of information online. So I decided to be that relatable source of information and relatable source of sharing experiences as a mother. And that's how I started my whole content creation journey with long form blogs and then later on Instagram content, videos, pictures, etc. Now I'm a full time mom content creator and I absolutely love the flexibility it affords me so that I can follow my passion, be financially independent, as well as spend as much time as I want to with my kids.
That's amazing. I love that. Might be more than 12 years ago. That is like Instagram wasn't even a thing 12 years ago. We were
Yeah,
basically just, sharing our like square, highly filtered images. It was not a thing to share like tips and build a community, but you
right.
managed to do that all the way back when, right? And I think one of the key reasons I wanted to have you here on this podcast to talk about the topics of sharenting and mom influencer and mom content creators, I would say I think that's a more appropriate term
Right,
for like the moms that we are out there who have these massive followings. It's because you have seen everything. You have seen
right. The
how
growth.
everybody from, yes, private accounts, barely sharing anything about themselves, or at most being on Facebook. And then you have seen how it has evolved to people opening up their lives to the world, whether or not you're trying to be an content creator. You are still, many of people have public profiles, they have accounts for their kids, they call it the memory gram. So, and it just begs the question, and I'm sure you must have wondered about this many times in your journey, is to what extent is it okay to share photos and videos of your kids online?
First of all, I believe that, influencers, we are all moms are influencers, whether they're online or offline, right? We are making a profession out of it by sharing our content online on Instagram. Why I started my, mom content creation journey was basically to put forth the realities of motherhood. That was what my target was, that no mother should ever feel alone in this parenting journey, because God knows we face a lot of judgment. We have truckloads of information. We have well meaning relatives all around us, all telling us what to do and what not to do. But there's, that community of mothers which tells you that it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to, feel like this is a difficult phase. And it's okay. You're really doing a great job as a mother, whatever you choose to do. I think that comes from shared experiences. And that is how I started my content journey on Instagram. Most of my friends started their content creation journey on Instagram as moms because of that same reason. We used to share the most unfiltered images and, the most unfiltered moments. Like I've shared pictures in which I'm howling like a baby, in which, I'm dressed in like the geekiest nightgowns ever. But that was just because that was our reality at that point of time. And we found our shared community because a lot of mothers came up to us and told us that this is, we find this so relatable. We weren't able to put words into what you have put words into, but this is making us feel so much better. But I also realized quickly at, that point of time that it was it was great to share, but it was not okay to overshare. So
Mhm.
for instance, things like, pictures of my children crying, me crying was a different thing because that showed my reality. But I was not okay with showing pictures of my children, pictures or videos of my children crying, anybody else in my family crying, or my baby's having a bath, or those diaper changes, napping changes, all of those things which are essentially very very private in nature. I was never okay with sharing any of those things, and I'm still not okay with sharing any of those things. Anything that can compromise the safety of your child is a strict no to be shared on social media. I think that's it for me. If I wouldn't share it offline with somebody, then why would I want to share it online with somebody? And that's the principle that I've always worked with, that if I'm not going to share it offline, I'm not going to share it online as well.
That makes sense. You, as a consenting adult, can share whatever you like about your life, whatever feels right for you, right? And but when it comes to your children, I like the fact that you mentioned that there need to be some boundaries. So there's definitely like one school of thought that says that you shouldn't share anything about your child online because they don't have the age or the ability to consent. And if they can't consent, then you shouldn't have the ability to share that at all. But given the advent of social media and how it is, and, mom creators or just parents in general who are not trying to be creators, they find it harmless to share the sweet moments, to share the relatable moments. So then there is definitely this list of okay things to share, and then there is this like no list. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you like more clearly just tell us what in your opinion should be in the no list that you cannot share these things about your child on social media?
Yeah. So, coming back to the word that you use, which is sharenting. So, essentially, I am sharing my parenting journey. So, my children are a part of my content. My children are not the content themselves. And there is a very fine line between these two. But if you know how to maintain that balance, I think you're good. Honestly, I know there is a there is an increasingly large number of accounts on Instagram which are just child accounts where, the parents are not in the picture. It's only the children's videos that are being shared. And I'm definitely not okay with that because that is making the child the content. I'm just not okay with that. And exactly when it comes to consent, my understanding is that I would share pictures and videos of my kids with my friends and family anyways on social media. And you can only share them with social media or through social media these days because you want your friends and family to be connected to your life, to see your kids growing up, to see the kind of journey that they're on. And if that means sharing them carefully on social media, I think that's completely okay. Also, boundaries with what you share because your child may not be on social media now, but at the age of 13, 14, 15, 16, whenever you choose to give your child a phone, they're definitely going to be on social media. There shouldn't be any content about them that's going to be embarrassing them at that point of time. So I think we are all, we
What kind of content would that be? Like, how would you, what are the some kind of pieces or like reels or photos that you have seen online which you feel like this shouldn't be on social media? This would embarrass the child if they see it like a decade later.
Yes, so that's, some strict no-nos for me are definitely any photos or videos of my children when they're changing their clothes or when they're taking a bath or, when they're crying or when, they're having a tantrum, when they're, because it's kids, they do have tantrums. And, when they're upset, when they're having a not so comfortable moment and I choose to record it. I mean, I would record it maybe to show them later on that this is what you look like and, this is how you reacted in the situation and, how you could, react better. But that is never going to go on social media because that's like a strict no-no. And also, you don't want to put your kids at any kind of risk. So, for me, strict no-nos are also putting in live locations of my children or putting in the classes that they do, like the exact location of the classes that they do, the school that they go to, the teachers that they meet. All of these things are also a strict no-no for me when it comes to social media because you don't know the kind of predators that are out there. So you have to do at least these basic things to keep them safe and to keep them secure in your little world that you have built with them. But this is what I feel. And also, there are a lot of child videos online and, child accounts online that post like overly sexualized pictures and videos of young girls and young boys. They may be dancing to the latest popular Bollywood numbers without even knowing what they mean. And that's just, for me, that's just not okay because if your child is not able to understand the meaning of the lyrics or the context of the lyrics, and they may be great dancers, they may have great expressions, they may be great actors, but if they don't understand what they're doing, a parent doesn't have any right to put it on social media because it will come back and embarrass them later. It will come back and haunt them later. And no parent wants that for their child.
I understand. I think it's just about it's so easy to take things out of context
Yes.
for kids, right? And I don't think in this day and age of AI and deep fakes, where things are getting so scary. See, a regular picture of a kid could easily be turned into, sexual material, which is absolutely inappropriate. And I know that that itself somehow scares people. But, if you go on the other side where you are intentionally portraying your child in any of these like costumes or, like you said, music videos or things like that, I think that is definitely not okay. And
Yeah.
on the this no list that you gave, I think that is such an important list that everybody should know. Like, this should be common knowledge, because what I feel, I see a lot of like mom creators for the for the intention that they're trying to relate and educate, they end up oversharing. And it's not because they mean any malice, it's just that they are not quite always aware that this content is not okay. And I have literally seen doctors, like there is this gynecologist who I follow who has a baby, and she has put in like videos of her infant while bathing on her. It's one of her reels. And of course, she's trying to educate people about what's the right way to bathe the baby. All fair. That is okay. But including the video of the baby while they are naked on social media, that was not okay. Like, even I felt that. Somewhere I think about, no matter how innocent your child's photo or video is that you have put online, you have gone through the filters, you have taken consent, you have made sure that everything is okay. Do you still worry about the risk of exposing your child's content to perverts and pedophiles who may misuse this content that you have posted online with the best of intentions? Is that something you worry about?
I do worry about it. And also, I feel like with the world we're living in, it's very, very, very tough to uh, keep away from this conversation at all, right? Now with the rise of mom creators, there's a lot more sharing that is done of personal lives and private lives on social media. And there's always that risk of, falling prey to, even with you taking, like you said, even with you taking all the precautions, there is always a risk of content finding its way to pedophiles and perverts and being used for unsavory purposes. But this is something I believe that we cannot stay away from. It is a digital age. We are in the age of social media. We cannot keep our children away from it. So why not find safe ways for them to use it and try your level best to keep them safe online and offline. And if you do find that your pictures and videos have been used for any inappropriate purposes, don't shift the blame from the person who's actually committed the crime to the person who's actually the victim of the crime or the survivor of the crime. I think that holds true in all respects, and that holds true in this aspect as well. And if you are sharing your life on social media, be prepared for the eventuality that okay, maybe it may happen, but if it happens, what do I do to keep myself safe, and what do I do to take that thing off? So I think it's just more awareness is needed, and it's great to be more aware about when you're posting content, what kind of
Hmm.
content you're posting, and also if that content goes into the wrong hands, what do you do about it?
I think like that is so important to keep in mind, that don't shift the blame. The
Yeah,
problem was not the photo that was posted. The problem is how the photo was misused. So the
exactly.
person who should be brought to task is the person who misused it, not the person who posted it. And definitely, I feel that is something that we have to keep in mind, so we don't get overly critical of the all the wonderful work that the mom creators are doing. This is work.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the hours spend in trying to educate and research and learn and post about it. And like you said, I think you have told us very beautifully and articulated very beautifully why you started and why every other mom creator, why do they step in. I hardly think anybody is thinking that like, oh, this is going to be my new career. No, they start with the intention of sharing, connecting, and then of course when it starts to get to a point where they can monetize it,
they
that's
do.
definitely a great thing, when there is nothing wrong with that as well. But I feel like, as parents who are listening to our podcast, most of them are not creators, but I feel like they deserve to know more about what's happening behind the scenes in this mom creator industry so that they also understand who to trust, who not to trust. What are these mom creators being paid for that? I think these are a lot of these things that parents deserve to know now, because it's getting so cluttered and so mishmashy now. Because I'm sure back in the day, if you were talking about a certain product, you were not being paid to talk about that product.
Right.
So people could trust 100% that that was a genuine recommendation. Namrata for sure uses it with her twin boys, and that's why she's recommended in her blog or in her post. Now, you can't tell. You have no idea whether or not that is a genuine recommendation or just a paid one. So tell me about this. When you see a mom influencer collaborating with a certain brand, how can you tell whether or not you should trust that recommendation and spend money on it, or you should just kind of be wary of it?
I can write a thesis about this. But
Please.
it again, in the interest of the podcast, I'll try to, just list down a few points as to how you can make out whether a mom creator is actually genuine. And all mom creators are genuine, by the way, but whether they're actually doing it, just because they're sharing their journey of parenting and they found a product very useful and that's why they're telling their audience about it, or, they've been paid by a brand to specifically talk about that product only. There are a lot of moms with young kids who are coming on to social media only because they want to become mom content creators and they want to just have monetized journeys on Instagram. There's nothing wrong about it. There's absolutely nothing wrong because at the end of the day, it has now become a legit profession. What I do have a problem with is when mom content creators don't take their audiences seriously and try to take their audiences for a ride. For example, you're promoting a baby brand today and saying,
Mhm.
this is the best thing that I've ever used for my child. Correct? Baby skincare brand, let's say. This is the best thing I've ever used for my child. 2 days later, that best thing that you ever used for my child has become a different brand. And 2 days later, there's a third brand that has come in, and this is the best product that I'm using for my child. I think if you notice a pattern like this in a on a content creator's profile, be very mindful and be very wary about following the recommendations because your best can't change within a span of a week. If that recommendation is going to change every 2 days and you are going to confuse your audience, then I'm sure that that audience is not going to trust you very much right back. So I think this is the biggest red flag, I should say, that you should watch out for if you decide to follow any mom content creator's recommendation for your own child. Just take a look at the profile, take a look at see whether there's any organic content being shared or is it just brand collab after brand collab after brand collab because then right you can take a call as to how genuine those recommendations actually are. Second thing is, I feel like with the advent of Instagram and mom creators and in general mom creators, I honestly, as a very jaded mom of 12-year-old twin boys, I really feel like we're overcomplicating the process of parenting. You
Mhm.
don't need 356 books for your child. You do not need five kinds of skincare products for your child. So
Yeah.
if a mom creator is continuously just recommending products, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, you really need to be wary about those people because rest assured, they're getting a commission from all sales that they're making, right? Again, that's nothing wrong. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just you choose how much of the content you want to consume and take home with you.
There are a lot of mom influencers who have chanced upon brand collaborations. Some have started off to be able to get brand collaborations. How much do these brands actually pay? Like, are they paying like obscene amounts of money, or is it like nominal amounts of money? Like, can you tell us, like, from like a follower to money ratio, what is it like on the background in like the Indian mom creator industry?
So basically, there's every kind of brand in the market, right? Every brand has a budget which is set out for marketing. Say, I don't want to take any brand names, but then brands which have been around for, say, generations and generations, they have extremely good budgets. For example, I'm just telling you a 100K plus follower profile on Instagram. They're very selective about the work that they do. So those kind of profiles can charge anywhere between 35 to 50,000 per reel or per post on
Uh-huh.
Instagram. But then again, it depends. If there's certain brands, they don't have, they're very, very good brands, but they don't have those kind of budgets. So you take a call whether you want to work with them or whether you don't want to work with them for like a lesser price, or you get into an affiliate marketing, kind of arrangement with them where you have a link or a code, and the amount of sales which come through that code or link, you get paid accordingly based on that. Or you come into some kind of barter arrangement with them where you do it just on stories or you do just a post for them. Depends on how much the brand wants to work with you and how much you want to work with the brand and have it appear on the page. It's so for most mom content creators, the kids are a part of the content. So decide that kind of ROI it's bringing to you, whether your time, your child's time, the production values, the production time that you're putting in, all of that, is it giving you the return that you are expecting? Only then choose to work with the brand. If a brand thinks that they're doing you a favor by working with you, just abandon them. Nobody's doing anybody a favor. It's a two-way street. You're giving them content, they're paying you for that content, and they're paying you for the audience that you have built up with your trustworthy recommendations over the years. So it's a two-way street. Don't take any nonsense from any brands who say that they're doing you a favor by working with you. I think that's the biggest tip I can give to all mom content creators out there.
Absolutely. I think this is something that everybody should know, and not just like just mom content creators. When it comes to like branded reels, right? I have seen far too many reels nowadays in which little kids, 2 year old, 3 year old, 5 year old, 6 year old, they are being made to act in that reel ki, okay, you run from this spot to this spot, now you smile like this, now you open up the present like this, now you show how you are using this activity box, and you can tell that there is a professional videographer in the house who's
Hmm.
filming all this. Is not just like I took this content with my child, just you and me and her alone. You can
Right.
tell that it is scripted, choreographed, very very curated, and these are very young kids. So how do you feel about kids? Like, just what's your opinion on kids being made to act in these brand collaborations that are going up on social media?
So there's 2 points here. First thing is, if that is a product or a service which you genuinely use in your real life, then it makes sense to collaborate with the brand and create content for them. If it is something that you feel you are never going to use with your child, then please do not recommend it to other parents as well. So that's the number one rule. And B, yes, I understand that, brands have certain mandates these days, that there are scripts to be followed, there are color coordinations to be done. That's all a part of a bigger marketing strategy. But it should not be that you are forcing your children to do something that they're uncomfortable with. Like, generally, when a child opens a present, they're generally very excited about it. It's just that you're choosing to capture that moment with a professional. Generally, kids do run from one place to another. It's just that you are capturing that moment with a professional photographer or a videographer. So these are things which kids do in day to day life, which is just being captured because there is a scope of monetization for it. And I think there's no harm in that, as long as these are things which are generally a part of childhood. For example, say a child is riding a cycle and you choose to take videos about the child, even covering it with a professional and something like that. That's okay, because generally children do that, right? Like they do, like riding a cycle is a part of their everyday life, and they're generally happy when they do that. So if they're smiling for the cameras, great. But if you're forcing, like if your child genuinely doesn't like to cycle and you're forcing that child, no, you need to get on that cycle because I need to get that shot for the brand video, that's wrong. So don't make, ultimately, as a mom content creator, you are first of all, you are using your kids, not using, you are making your kids a part of your content so that you can recommend a product to other parents. There is no way that your kid should be uncomfortable while making that piece of content, because that will just show eventually, and that eventually will become a part of the content. You don't want that. Don't force them to do anything that they don't like. That's it. That's just the basic premise of a mom creator's journey.
Amazing. So what do you think about, like, let's say there are a lot of mom creators who do a lot of this real creation, right? So in a way, their children are also almost used to being on camera. They're not
Yeah.
that camera conscious anymore. They're used to being able to say certain things and show their excitement in a certain way. Do you feel that children of content creators should be compensated from the earnings of that piece of content? Like, should there be a monetary compensation? So What's your opinion about this? Like, what do you think? Should kids be compensated for being a part of their parents' content online?
This is a very, very delicate question because, moms think differently, and whatever they choose to do with their kids as a part of their content is completely their call. In my journey, I've never forced my kids to do anything that they wouldn't do otherwise. And even if it's ever taking videos for me, for my reels or for my content, it's always based on their comfort. It is based on their opinion. It is based on their schedules, their timelines. That being said, the minute I started making money as a mom content creator, especially with the content in which my children were involved, I had created bank accounts for them separately, and I started putting 15% of whatever I earned from that particular campaign directly into that those accounts, so that they had a certain not a compensation, I would say. It's just that they would know that just like I am doing my work and getting compensated for it, they are helping me with my work, and that's why they are also getting compensated for it. So I think that's the language that I always used with them. And now it's easy to convince them because, they're 12 and they know the value of money, and that money still hasn't gone to them yet. It will eventually come to them, and, they're making plans with what they can do with that money. But it's always been the case with me. The minute I started making money off content creation, I did this for my kids, and, I promised myself that this is something that I'm never, never going to let go. It's actually been the same, like sometimes I involve, my dad in my content, or my mom used, when she was there, she used to be a part of my content. My mother-in-law recently was a part of, one of the videos I made. And even though I can't like monetarily compensate them, I try to ensure that, at least some little gift, or, so anything little that you can do to sort of, because they are helping you with your content, your kids are, being a part of it. So why not compensate them for it?
I think it's all about going about it. Like, are you going about it ethically or
Yes.
not? And I
Yeah.
feel you can call this a gray area, but it's very clear in terms of what is ethical and what is not. And I think one of the things that you brought out earlier, where it's a pure child's account, the parent doesn't even feature in it. You don't know what the parent's name is, you don't know what the parent is doing. And I personally don't find that ethical.
Yeah.
Right? Because then whatever you're monetizing, it's 100% the child's content. They are the ones who are featuring in it. So I think like that is definitely, I feel that if we can have a bit of a crackdown on that from an authority perspective as well, which I do see there are certain governments, state governments that are running these campaigns. Neha Dupia was recently a part of them. It's about digital privacy of kids. I feel these accounts definitely can, they can use some reviewing and some like quality and safety checks, especially parent like vloggers as well, who are showing every single part of their life, like literally nothing, like there is no differentiation between real life and real life. It's all
Yes.
blurred. So Namrata, I had a question, last final question I have for you for this is, as a parent, you know when you are interacting with content, and if you find a certain creator who is probably not being very ethical, or you find things that maybe unknowingly they are putting about any kind of inappropriate videos, photos of their kid, do you think they should call them out?
I usually call them out very, very publicly because I have always been extremely, extremely unfiltered in my Instagram journey. And I'm this person offline as well. If I don't agree with something, and if I don't like something, I will go and, comment on that person's page, or, on that person's piece of content, that this is very, very inappropriate and you should not be showing this. Because especially when I see pictures and videos of, children crying, and parents using that as like a content to give like a piece of gyan, I really get so annoyed, when I see that. I'm like, your child was crying, instead of you trying to, mollify the child, or trying to, get your child to stop crying. You were creating a video and then putting it out with like a piece of gyan. I'm sorry. It's just very, very unfathomable to me. And I really feel, as content creators, as mom content creators, and also moms of child content creators, we all have to ensure that ultimately, our kids deserve a childhood, which is a happy, safe, and secure childhood. If any of your activities on social media are taking away from their childhood, why are we even indulging in that activity? Like, money cannot be your end goal, especially if you have a child. It's your child's safety, if your child's security, if your child's happiness that is the paramount importance. What you're doing is a hustle, is a side hustle of this, and it's a byproduct of you having a child. It's not your main priority. Your main priority is your child's childhood and how it should be unfiltered, unfettered, joyous, happy, safe, and secure. That's the main goal. Keep that in mind before you choose to do anything on social media. I think if we just remember that, we see so many instances. There was a very interesting Netflix documentary also about a YouTuber
Yeah.
who was, I
Bad
can't get the name.
influence. Bad
Yeah, that
influence.
one, that one.
Yeah.
Their whole life was those kids. Their whole life was content, and we know all of them. All of them. If you go see their accounts now, they're all going through some problem or the other. Like, they're not leading happy lives. Do we really want that for our children? We don't, right? So that's where we learn to draw the line between our ambitions and then giving our children the childhood that they deserve. I think if we remember that, everything sort of falls into place.
That is such a wonderful note to like conclude this podcast on, because at the end of the day it's about the children, and if they are able to be themselves, whether it's on camera or off camera, but they are getting the childhood they deserve, you're okay. That is ethical, and that is where the joy of a content creation lies, both as a content creator as well as a consumer of that kind of content. And Namrata, I am just so appreciative of how candid and amazing you are. You have seen all sides of this industry, and you have shared some wonderful tips for us to learn about, like learn from you, but also just things for us to think about on our day to day journey in which we are, thinking about what to share, what not to share. So thank you so much, Namrata. To everybody who's listening, if you like this episode and this is something that you have been discussing in your mom groups, whether or not you should share your pictures of your kids online, please share this episode on your mom groups to your fellow parents. Share it with your favorite content creators. And I'm so glad that you all tuned in. To find Namrata, we are going to put her Instagram profile in this caption, and you will have to find her there because she's one of the most real content creators you will find out there. As a mom, you will vibe with her so hard, just like I did the first time I met her. And thank you so much for doing this with us, Namrata.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad this worked out and I could come here. And thank you for letting me share my very unfiltered views. They may not be very popular with monks out there, but this is what it is. And this is the world we're living in. So thank you for letting me be my real unapologetic self.
That's what we needed. That's exactly what we needed. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.